A brand new police headquarters is on the way tonight, with design work expected to wrap up by September. What the National Security Minister says is driving the plan to strengthen police resources. Plus, as U.S.-China tensions grow, the Bahamas exploring more direct trade with Beijing, what the Economic Affairs Minister says could be on the table during the budget debate. And with hurricane season just days away, health officials and first responders urging Bahamians to get ready now. Find out what the health chief says could make all the difference in a disaster. Then in our news at 7:30, a mother charged with child cruelty is out on bail after allegedly beating her daughter with a bat, all over a lie about her whereabouts. Our news live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Shepard. Well, this year's budget will allocate funds for a new police headquarters. National Security Minister Wayne Monroe telling us the design should be done by September. Bethany McDermott has the details.
The Davis administration is proposing the construction of a new police headquarters at the East Street location. Prime Minister Philip Davis shared the plan in his budget communication Wednesday. Today, National Security Minister Wayne Monroe said it's another step in beefing up security.
It will be a multi-story building that will have the administrative and other offices for the Royal Bahamas Police Force. If you go in their current headquarters, you will see that it's a nice old building, but not necessarily fit for purpose at this time.
Monroe says the facility will be placed west of the same compound. The new plan will also see the replacement of the police fire shed.
And it'll have to be built to accommodate the new fire equipment that is also provided for in the budget. And it will include sleeping spaces for the fire officers who are actually there around the clock. That site is also proposed for the new forensic lab further west on the property, but that is not as settled as the headquarters and the fire shed.
The National Security Chief says the new structure will allow for more modern operations, adding that the current facility is outdated. Additionally, he says a recent survey of police stations across the island revealed more attention needs to be placed on the age structures.
I haven't seen the costing on it. I spoke with the persons, and it's hoping that we can both be through the design phases and that by September on the multi-story building, and perhaps already moving to replace the fire shed by then.
Reporting for our news, I'm Bethany McDermott.
All right, thanks for that update, Bethany. Economic Affairs Minister Michael Halkida says government is consistently seeking new ways of trading after calls by Chinese Ambassador Yan Zhirong to establish more direct trade between the two nations. Her comments come amid threats of a global trade war between the United States and China. The Economic Affairs Minister says it's a topic that will be discussed during the upcoming budget debate.
What we have seen is in response to the increase in the cost of living, and we import most of what we consume. We have a trade facilitation committee within the Ministry of Economic Affairs, and part of what they do is seek out new trade routes, new trading partnerships. The view being how can we access the goods that the Bahamians consume or goods that they can potentially consume at a lower price.
Halkidas went on to say expanding trade in general is a goal of the Davis administration.
And so if that includes direct trade with any country, we are seeking out ways. For example, it has been said that some things that we produce, we import it. The origin is in the Caribbean, but first it has to go to the U.S. and then comes back. That add costs in terms of time and in terms of shipping. And so generally, however we can, we're exploring new routes. If it's direct trade with China, any other country, Dominican Republic, we've seen, even the direct trade with other Caribbean nations. That is something we wish to explore.
A Nassau man has been handed a 5-year sentence after he pleaded guilty to pointing a loaded gun at a man outside of a popular nightclub. Nathan Roll received the sentence as part of a deal with prosecutors. Following his release from prison, Roll will be on probation for 2 years. Roll will be sent back to jail for 3 years if he's convicted of any crime while on probation. Back on September 11th, 2023, Roll was at Primetime Lounge on St. Albans Drive when he pulled a Glock pistol with 10 live rounds of ammunition on Michael Solomon. The encounter was caught on the club's surveillance footage. A judge has ordered a halt to disciplinary proceedings against a police inspector pending a judicial review hearing. Inspector Garvin Evans alleges that the police commissioner failed to follow procedures concerning the discipline of an officer at the rank of inspector and above. Evans is facing disciplinary action for allegedly breaching COVID-19 travel restrictions by not producing a vaccination card and negative antigen tests before he boarded a charter flight from Grand Bahama to Andros in 2022. Justice Carl Card Stubbs granted for judicial review and ordered the disciplinary proceedings stayed until the matter is decided or the court makes another order. However, the stay will be lifted if Evans' lawyer doesn't take steps to begin the proceedings within 14 days. Well, amid allegations, some Bahamas Department of Corrections officers are abusing inmates. Prison Chief Don Clare says officers will now be outfitted with body cameras. Prime Minister Philip Davis foreshadowed new equipment for prison officers during his budget communication last Wednesday. Clare telling us they have acquired 10 so far. The prison chief believes it will lessen legal threats against the government.
Numerous times when there are cell extractions or when there's some transfer of a person to court, lots of allegations are being made in court about officers abusing inmates. So what we decided to do now is that we will outfit now all of our staff members who was in the cell extraction unit, who was in the exercise yard, who was also doing a court escort. We're going to put them in body cams to lessen them persons suing the government of the Bahamas at the Bahamas Department of Corrections.
June 1st will mark the start of the Atlantic hurricane season, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness hosted its third annual Disaster Preparedness and Health Expo today. The event brought together key stakeholders, first responders, and the public to emphasize the importance of being ready for emergencies before they strike. On hand for the event was Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville, who stressed the importance of being ready in the event of disaster.
Preparedness is paramount. Please follow through with instructions from reliable sources. The last thing you want to do is to be preparing in the midst of the hurricane. You want to be ready, set to go, and you will know whether or not you need to be moved from an area with potential surge to high ground or to one of our shelters.
Vendors included the Disaster Risk Management Authority, Bahamas First, Bahamas National Trust, and Storm Chasers Bahamas.
What we do is we collect data to help with the meteorologists and scientists. So for instance, we collect rain for Kokoras that the Met Office recognized to know how much rainfall is around the country. So we encourage people to be volunteers at their home to do that. And we also look out for water spouts, help with data collection with, help with data collections for the water spout for International Center for Water Spout. So if you were to go on the International Center for Water Spout platform and you look up the top 10 water spout hunters in the world, you'll see 3 Bahamians that is located there.
Alrighty, impressive. We've still got lots more news to share with you tonight. But first, it's time for a check on temperatures with meteorologist Greg Thompson. Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Megan, and a happy TGIF, everybody. It has been a very warm week around the islands. Not much in terms of any rainfall. We did see one isolated shower here in the capital earlier, and we're seeing a couple of those. We share that in our satellite picture. But it's 84 degrees on the outside right now with a few clouds. The wind's out of the south-southeast at 14 miles per hour, so we have a slight breeze out there. But that's not shaving much off the feels-like temperature. It still feels very warm. Feels like a warm 87 degrees on the outside. Temperatures right now across the northwest Bahamas. It's 85 in Freeport. That's in Grand Bahama. Alistown, Bimini, Nichols, San Andros, Great Harbor Key here in the capital, 84. 84 also in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. Governor's Harbor, 83. Central Bahamas, we have 80s there as well. 84 in Kemps Bay, Georgetown, Deadman's Key, and in Arthurstown, Cat Island. Black Point, the Exumas, 82. 83s in Coburn Towns and Salvador, and in Port Nelson, that's in the Rum Key area. 83 in Duncantown, Ragged Island. We pick up more 84s in Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay, Acklands, Abrahams Bay, 84. Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands 84 as well. Matthew Town in Aguadilla, the warm spot at 85 degrees. Sideline radar composite. We have a couple of features affecting the Bahamas. At the surface is a ridge of high pressure still in charge, but in the mid and upper levels, there's an upper level that's spinning just to the east of the Bahamas, and we have a trough, actually, a dipping jet stream with an associated front dropping into Florida. That's bringing some moisture across the northwest Bahamas, so we're starting to see some isolated showers and some isolated thunderstorms. That trend will continue as this frontal boundary to the north of us sides towards the south should park itself just to the north of the islands, and we could see some showers over the weekend. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come. Hey, Greg Thompson here.
Close games, penalty kicks, and that's just the semifinals. We'll fill you in on the latest from the Samuel P. Haven Jr. National High School Soccer Championships.
Pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
When Team Bahamas took on the region at the 2025 Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, we were there. When the country's stars of tomorrow announced their arrival to the world. When champions rose, records fell, and history was made, we were there.
My name is Trevi Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent on the services, so I was very grateful that the live fiber was available in my area. Once I was able to make the switch, my service and everything I needed was satisfied. My favorite feature would actually be being able to add any apps from the Play Store. It's just basically making any dumb TV a smart TV. I do a lot of back-end support, engineering support, helping clients working remotely when I'm from home. The internet is a very important aspect of my job.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Marknott. Let's do show. The Samuel P. Haven Jr. National Soccer Championships are into the final, and both titles were on the line tonight. We'll tell you how we got to those matchups. In senior girls, the Life Key Dragons advanced after a 2-1 win over the CR Walker Knights. In the other half of the draw, the Queens College Comets advanced on penalties with a 4-2 edge over Grand Bahamas Bishop Michael Eldon. In senior boys play, a huge day for the Dragons program continued when they pulled off the upset over the reigning BAISS and national champions. LCIS won 4-1 over Windsor School. As for who the Dragons will face, Frednell Felix and John Brzee led Government High School to the final with a 3-2 win over the St. George's Jaguars out of Grand Bahama.
The regional prelims continue for the NCAA Outdoor Championships, and more Bahamians are looking to book their spot in Eugene, Oregon. Anthea Charlton continues to rewrite the record books for the Florida Gators, and a breakout season continues at the East Prelims. Her time also reached the qualification standard for the World Championships in Tokyo. Giovanna Valcourt of the Tennessee Volunteers won her 400-meter heat in 52.22 seconds.
Jazz Chisholm was back on the field and back in pinstripes, but not New York Yankee pinstripes, Somerset Patriot pinstripes. Working his way back from an oblique injury, Chisholm was designated for a rehab assignment with the Patriots of the AA Eastern League. In 5 innings, he finished 2 for 3 with a double and scored 2 runs in the Patriots' 12-0 win over the Akron Rubber Ducks at TD Bank Ballpark in New Jersey. And as usual, your 10YS Plays of the Week. That'll do it for Our Sports. Stay tuned to Our News at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world. As President Trump says China broke a critical minerals trade agreement, warning tougher actions could follow. Plus, U.S. Border Patrols report a staggering 95% drop in illegal migrant apprehensions. And we'll tell you the new top diplomat the U.S. is sending to Haiti amid rising gang violence when our news returns.
My name is Trevi Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent on the services, so I was very grateful that the live fiber was available in my area. Once I was able to make the switch, my service and everything I needed was satisfied. My favorite feature would actually be being able to add any apps from the Play Store. It's just basically making any dumb TV a smart TV. I do a lot of back-end support, engineering support, helping clients working remotely when I'm from home. The internet is a very important aspect of my job and my life. My name is Trey Williams, and the future is home with a live fiber.
That was Judah saying, my name is Judah the Lion. I am Shadford. That's Kennison. This is Charlie Bahama. You know what's going on.
Right, look at this could be a show. We're here at Carnival because we have talent in the house. You know our Carnival has talented different people. We have talented different people. Not me. I'm just here to hold the mic for these three gentlemen here. Charlie Bahama, this week right here at Cable Bahamas Channel 212.
When Team Bahamas took on the region at the 2025 Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, we were there. When the country's stars of tomorrow announced their arrival to the world. When champions rose, records fell, and history was made, we were there. Cable Bahamas, RTV, experience more.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. U.S. President Donald Trump on Friday said China had violated an agreement with the U.S. and issued a new veiled threat to get tougher with Beijing. Alex Cohen has more.
U.S. President Donald Trump said on Friday China had violated an agreement with the U.S. to mutually roll back tariffs and trade restrictions for critical minerals. He also issued a veiled threat to get tougher with Beijing, writing on Truth Social, quote, China, perhaps not surprisingly to some, has totally violated its agreement with us. So much for being Mr. Nice Guy. Just hours later, China hit back, urging the U.S. to end what it called discriminatory restrictions against Beijing, and for the two sides to jointly uphold the consensus reached at the high-level talks in Geneva, according to a statement from China's embassy in Washington. Trump said he made a fast deal in mid-May with Chinese officials for both countries to back away from triple-digit tariffs for 90 days. He said he did this to save China from a devastating situation, factory closings, and civil unrest caused by his tariffs of up to 145% on Chinese imports. Trump didn't specify how China had violated the agreement, but U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer told CNBC that the flow of critical minerals from China, which had been cut off by Chinese trade countermeasures, has not resumed as called for by the deal. On Thursday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told Fox News Channel that U.S. trade talks with China were a bit stalled, and getting a deal over the finish line will likely need the direct involvement of Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Later on Friday, White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy Stephen Miller said the Trump administration is readying other actions targeting China, adding, quote, it would be incredibly unwise for China to continue down this path and not seek instead the path of cooperation.
Billionaire Elon Musk is officially out of the Trump administration, stepping down as head of the Department of Government Efficiency on Wednesday after clashing with the president over a massive spending bill. Musk, who led deep federal cuts and layoffs at agencies like USAID, says the bill will balloon the deficit and undercut his team's work. The DOGE department slashed over $150 billion in government spending and laid off more than 2 million workers. His exit marks the latest high-profile rift inside the administration as Trump defends what he calls his big, beautiful bill. Illegal crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border have plunged to their lowest level in 25 years, thanks to aggressive counterterrorism efforts under President Donald Trump. That's according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, which reports a 95% drop in illegal migrant apprehensions from about 250,000 in December 2023 to roughly 7,000 by March 2025. New security zones, drones, and AI surveillance now cover former hotspots like Cristo Rey Mountain. Southern Spain is already baking under its first extreme heat alert of the year, with temperatures soaring to 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit in cities like Cordoba and Seville. Tourists at an annual flamenco fair struggled in the heat, especially in traditional outfits, while locals say it's just another hot start to summer. Spain's weather agency, AMET, has issued an alert for this extraordinary heat episode, which is expected to last through at least June 1st. The U.S. is sending a new top diplomat to Haiti as gang violence spirals and tens of thousands flee their homes. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced Ambassador Henry Wooster will take over as Chargé d'Affaires in Port-au-Prince starting June 12, tasked with leading U.S. efforts to support Haiti's fragile security. Wooster, a former ambassador to Jordan and U.S. Army veteran, steps in as the United Nations warns over 50,000 people, including 15,000 children, have been displaced by violence just since April. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was May 30th. Then in our news at 7:30, 4 new Defense Force boats now in service. The acting Prime Minister says they're part of the fight against growing threats at sea. And tighter vetting, paused interviews, and social media checks. U.S. student visa changes may cause serious delays. RF Bank's David Slatter weighs in on what Bahamian parents and students should consider when our news returns.
That was Judah saying, my name is Judah the Lion. I am Shad Ferd. As Kennison, this is Charlie Bahama. You know what's going on.
Right, look at this could be a show. We're here at Carnival because we have talent in the house. You know our Carnival has talented different people. We have talented different people. Not me. I'm just here to hold the mic for these 3 gentlemen here. Charlie Bahama, this week right here at Cable Bahamas Channel 212.
When Team Bahamas took on the region at the 2025 Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, we were there. When the country's stars of tomorrow announced their arrival to the world. When champions rose, records fell, and history was made, we were there. Cable Bahamas.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communication.
On this day in Bahamian history, in 1930, the Grantstown Library was officially opened by then-Governor Charles Orr. It was originally located above the Grantstown Post Office. However, during the Burma Road riots of June 1st through 2nd, 1942, both the library and post office were destroyed by fire by the rioting crowd. In 1951, it was reopened the Lillian G. Ware Coakley Public Library after lobbying by now deceased former members of Parliament Bert Cambridge and Dr. Claudius Walker. Then fast forward to 2019, when hundreds of hotel workers went on strike, lining up outside the National Stadium. The action came days after union leaders burned a proposal from the Hotel Association. Union President Darren Wood said workers' wages and benefits did not reflect the so-called banner year in tourism.
Now you see what we've been telling you, that the people in the industry are not happy, and they will send a message to tell you that they're not happy.
Also in 2019, then Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest defended government's $240 million revenue shortfall, insisting the government did not have a crystal ball to predict what projections would be met.
As he was explaining the intricacies of the upcoming budget, the Deputy Prime Minister was asked about the revenue shortfall in this current fiscal year.
GDP growth projections are exactly that. They're projections. And unless you've got a crystal ball that's a little better than my crystal ball, it is very difficult to pinpoint a number.
Then in 2020, government state of emergency in response to the recently declared global COVID-19 pandemic extended to May 30th. The COVID-19 Emergency Orders 2020 was amended a month before to include fines for people who violated quarantine.
Today's proceedings is the second time the House of Assembly has met in a month as parliamentarians again discussed COVID-19 and the reason behind a state of emergency. The Prime Minister revealed his administration will not only extend their emergency order to the end of May, but it will also be cracking down on quarantine breakers.
The orders are being amended, Mr. Speaker, that those who break quarantine will be fined up to $20,000 or spend 5 years imprisonment, or both.
And finally, on this day in 2022, the country learned of a weapons crackdown in the face of an increasing crime wave. Prime Minister Philip Davis promised the crackdown on gun trafficking at a regional meeting of police chiefs.
Well, 8 teams were recognized by the Ministry of Economic Affairs Digital Transformative Unit for coming up with creative solutions for digitizing and solving some of our nation's toughest matters. From finance to road traffic to educational needs, these men and women were awarded grants for their projects at a ceremony this morning. The overall winner, Michael Flowers, explains the inspiration behind his project, the Bahamas Farming Information Systems.
The idea behind the project itself is just to connect the farmers with people within the ministry, straight and plain. And currently, we have a huge disconnect between what's going on in the field and what's happening in administration. So the idea is just to connect it digitally to create a platform where all of us are working with the same information.
It's the first time such a program has been carried out by government with a combined funding of $900,000. Manager of the program, Patrick Davis, says they're committed to proving the tools and resources needed to support bright minds like Grand Bahama native Michael.
This program is more than just about exploring technology. It is about bridging the gap between operation and innovation. The Digi Innovative Projects Grant Program was born to answer one simple question: how do we harness Bahamian creativity and ingenuity and deliver software applications that can transform the way government works?
Well, to watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, be sure to visit ournews.bs. That does it for Our News at 7. Joining us now is our Italia Hall with the latest headlines. Italia, TGIF.
TGIF. It's been a long day, so I'm happy that it's Friday and I'm ready for the weekend.
I'm
Hopefully,
excited for you.
Do you have any big plans or?
Back to work tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, I'm going to relax and hopefully I could maybe go to dinner.
Wind down for both of us.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, Megan. Well, coming up, the Down Home West End Festival is coming to the capital this weekend. Here are your latest headlines.
First tonight on our News Live at 7:30, a mother charged with child cruelty after allegedly beating her daughter with a bat for lying about her whereabouts. We have details from the courtroom coming up. Also, a man decapitated and buried allegedly by a relative. Now the Bahamas Christian Council is weighing in on the shocking crime. Plus, the Defense Force adds 4 state-of-the-art vessels to its fleet. Officials say the investment will help tackle evolving threats. Also, the U.S. considers expanded vetting for student visas, including social media checks. Here, why an RF Bank and Trust executive is telling Bahamian families to consider new options when Our News at 7:30 returns.
Once I had a gal, she called me pain. Left me in the cold and pouring rain. So I decided to put her down. I took a trip to Point Town.
MT Corporation is on the move, day by day, panel by panel. Our commitment to sustainable energy becomes more real. With each milestone, MT redefines what is possible. Not only are the Lucaya solar power projects on the island of Grand Bahama growing in scale, they are setting a new standard for energy independence.
Welcome to our news. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Italia Hall. A 45-year-old mother who allegedly beat her daughter with a bat after she lied about her whereabouts has been granted self-signed bail. The woman faces a charge of cruelty to children. The woman's 17-year-old teen told her mother that she was going to her father on May 12th. When she returned home 4 days later, the mother learned that her daughter really was at an Airbnb with a man. The mother returns to court on June 10th. Well, the Bahamas Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernandez responding to recent killings that he says have deeply impacted families in recent weeks. His remarks follow a bizarre and gruesome murder that has shaken the small, quiet community of Ackland, where a father was reportedly murdered, believed to have been decapitated and later buried, allegedly by a close relative. Fernandez says the church is deeply alarmed by the incident and is actively working with social partners to support and strengthen Bahamian families.
And we're trying our best to work with the family. If you notice, we've started an initiative with social service called The Family. It speaks to why this is so important. We want to build out strong families. As I gave in my national address for the National Baptist Convention, we also, through the Baptist College, providing training for our pastors to intervene, to make intervention. Ministry of Youth, Ministry of National Security would have certified some of our pastors around the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to be first aid psychiatrist training. The idea is we have to equip spiritual leaders to meet the demand of the time.
Bishop Fernando also weighed in on a recent Supreme Court case involving a 36-year-old man who admitted to raping and impregnating his 12-year-old stepdaughter. Fernando once again underscores the need for change, calling for stiffer penalties.
Obviously, we want more time, but the law is the law. We should be giving the full extent of the law, but if you go through the system, which I know you know as reporters, there are certain stipulations that only a certain amount of time can be given. But as we go and we talk to those in legislation, the legislations are being changed.
All right, as government prioritizes safety, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force commissioned 4 new 41-foot safe boats. According to Acting Prime Minister Glenys Hannah Martin, the custom vessels come at a price tag of just over $4.6 million. The vessels can reach a speed of 40 knots and are capable of traveling from New Providence to Inagua without refueling. Hannah Martin says as the nation faces evolving threats on the high seas, the new boats will help combat the crimes.
Expertly trained crews, cutting-edge technology, and steadfast vessels. By dedicating these safe boats today, we consecrate instruments of national defense that will patrol our exclusive economic zone, interdict illicit activity, and rush to the aid of those in peril at sea.
National Security Minister Wayne Monroe says these vessels are another step forward in safeguarding our waters.
The introduction of these new assets directly support that effort. Modern, reliable, and equipped with advanced surveillance systems, these boats are essential tools.
Well, the U.S. administration is considering a major expansion of its vetting process for foreign students applying to study in the United States, potentially requiring social media checks. In preparation for these expanded vetting procedures, the U.S. is instructing its embassies, including the U.S. Embassy in Nassau, to halt scheduling new interviews for student visa applicants. This plan could create significant delays in student visa processing and impact universities that rely on international students for revenue. In addition, the U.S. Embassy in Nassau recently posted a reminder on its social media platforms. Students who drop out of their program, skip classes, or leave their study program without informing their school could face their visas being revoked, losing eligibility for future visas. In our monthly sit-down interview with David Slatter, Vice President and Group Head of Investment at RF Bank and Trust, he discussed how these changes could affect Bahamian students. He suggested that now may be a good time for Bahamian parents to explore other educational options and Bahamians to explore other destinations to visit.
You see Trump has told Harvard that they're not allowed to bring in international students, which is like 25% of their student body. And actually they pay much higher rates. So just like in other universities, the international students subsidize to some extent the domestic students. Of course, they're taking him to court, right? So they're saying, that he doesn't have the right to do this. So there's actually a legal battle in the courts between Harvard and the government of the United States. I think there's this perception that the universities have become too liberal in their mindset, too far to the left. And this is a way to try to stop that trend in their perspective. But, I tell people there's a lot of great universities in Canada, great universities in the UK, University of the West Indies, University of the Bahamas. So unfortunately, it may mean that some Bahamian families will have to decide to send their children to other schools. So good news for the Canadian universities, good news for the University of the Bahamas, good news for the University of the West Indies. Unfortunately, not good news for individuals who are planning to send their children to schools in the United States. I would assume so. I would assume there's pressure being brought to bear on these entities that are responsible for making these decisions. What I would say is, once again, the glass is half full. We have direct flights to other jurisdictions. So, there's good shopping in Panama. There's Canadian dollars week, so there's good shopping in Canada. So if you really need to travel and you find you're not able to go to the United States of America, opt for another jurisdiction that's more receptive and more welcoming.
All right, well, cloudy skies but warm temperatures on this Friday. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Greg, what can you tell us?
Yeah, thanks, Natalia, and welcome back, everybody, for a quick check on conditions around the islands and outside our studios. 84 degrees is our current temperature with a few clouds. It is on the warm side. The winds are out of the southeast at 14 miles per hour. Slight breeze out there. Feels like temperature, though. It's still a very warm 87 degrees. Satellite radar composite. Upper level trough to the north of us with an associated frontal boundary that's dropping across Florida, bringing in some moisture across the area. There's also an upper level low that's spinning just to the east of the islands. That's also dragging in some moisture across the southeastern islands. This will stay the trend for out the rest of the night and into the weekend. That frontal boundary to the north should stall just to the north of the Bahamas. So it looks as though we could get some showers in the forecast for the weekend. That's a quick check on conditions around the islands. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, a massive fire threatened major infrastructure in Abaco until volunteers stepped in. The full story coming up. Plus, a new Grand Bahama office marks a major step for the Insurance Commission. Officials say it's all about better access. And have you ever had great food from West End in Grand Bahama? Well, you can taste a little bit of that experience this weekend as the Down Home Fish Fry Festival returns to the capital. That's all coming up when our news returns.
INTI Corporation is on the move, day by day, panel by panel. Our commitment to sustainable energy becomes more real. With each milestone, INTI redefines what is possible. Not only are the Lucayas solar power projects on the island of Grand Bahama growing in scale, they are setting a new standard for energy independence in the Bahamas. These state-of-the-art solar farms at the Fairfield and Devon sites, once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. INTI is on the move as a beacon of progress and innovation that is rapidly transforming our energy landscape. Witness the future of sustainable energy unfolding on the island of Grand Bahama as INTI Corporation shines brighter than ever. INTI Corporation, powering your world, powering your future.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Every season creates an opportunity for you to enjoy the comfort and security of your most valuable assets. Unfortunately, termites are common and very unwanted guests that never stop eating. With Struckham, you can enjoy the peace of mind as we protect your investment with our 3-year fumigation warranty. Struckham, #1 in pest control services.
Firefighters around the country have faced weeks of raging brush fires in Abaco. A blaze almost compromised the operations of Cable Bahamas, but thanks to a group of volunteers, the fire was contained. Well, on Thursday, executives took a trip to Marsh Harbor, Abaco to show their appreciation to the volunteer team. Our Daniel Miller was there.
Our trucks are very old. They're used trucks when we get them. They break down a lot.
This is the reality for Marsh Harbor Fire and Rescue Department Chief Stanley Sawyer. He says repairs for the trucks are costly, and this is just one of the many expenses the department incurs. On Thursday, CBL donated a check for $10,000 to the department. In attendance was the Minister of Works and Family Island Affairs, Clay Sweeting, Member of Parliament for North Abaco, Kirk Cornish, Fire Officer Corporal Mark Boleg, Chairman of Marsh Harbor Springs City and Township, Roscoe Thompson, and President of Abaco Chamber of Commerce, Chantel Sands. CEO of Cable Bahamas Group of Companies, Franklin Butler, said that the group saved the day as they speedily sprung into action to contain the fire. He says the monetary donation was just the beginning.
There's lots that can be done, but it still boils down to volunteers and corporate partners writing checks and putting their money where their mouth is to really make sure that our community is thriving.
Communication devices were also provided to the unit. Fire Officer Corporal Mark Boleg expressed his gratitude not only for the donation, but for the heroic efforts of the volunteers.
We really thank you for the donation. We thank you for the support. What you see sitting in front of you is a fine group of dedicated volunteers who comes out no matter what time of the day. Whenever they get the call, they're willing and they're able to respond without hesitation to protect their community, and not even the Marsh Harbor area, but the island of Abaco at large.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
All right, thanks so much for that, Danny. Well, the Insurance Commission of the Bahamas opening an office in Freeport, Grand Bahama on Tuesday afternoon. The West Mall Drive location is the first to ever be established outside of New Providence. It will not just serve as Grand Bahama, but will also cater to the Berry Islands, Bimini, and Abaco. Superintendent of Insurance at the Commission, Dana Munnings-Gray, says it shows their push to no longer be Nassau-centric.
It is said that the financial services sector accounts for 15% of our GDP. However, what many don't know is that the insurance sector contributes 8% of that 15%. $1 billion industry that is naturally, domestically, and organically grown for Bahamians by Bahamians. If that alone doesn't speak to the power of the insurance industry and why it is important for us to be in Grand Bahama alone, I don't know what will.
At the opening ceremony was aspiring actuary Janaya Pinder. She's a student of the Mary Star of the Sea Catholic School. She says the new office helps her pursue her dream career without having to leave the island.
What happened today was something that can start my future career. It's a platform, and I'm very grateful and blessed to be a part of that.
When Our News comes back from the break, music, food, and culture. Organizers say this weekend's Down Home Fish Fry Festival will be bigger and better than ever.
Coming up in sports, High School Soccer Nationals heads into the final day of competition. More Bahamians qualify for the NCAA Finals. Jazz is back on the field, and we tie it all together with the 10YS Players of the Week.
And the countdown is on to World Ocean Day. Hear how one school is inspiring change through ocean education. We have the details when Our News returns.
Mosquitoes becoming an issue? Struckham Commercial Pest Services is the #1 service provider for vanquishing those annoying bugs. Mosquitoes are more than a nuisance. They're also a health risk, transmitting diseases including malaria, dengue fever, and even the West Nile virus. With accredited verified training and technology, Struckham will deal with the conditions that invite mosquitoes, tackle current infestations, and stop their life cycle, therefore reducing the number of mosquitoes on your corporate property. Struckham, #1 in pest control services.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
When Team Bahamas took on the region at the 2025 Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, we were there. When the country's stars of tomorrow announced their arrival to the world. When champions rose, records fell, and history was made, we were there. Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Martinut. Let's do show. The Samuel P. Haven Jr. National Soccer Championships are into the final, and both titles were on the line tonight. We'll tell you how we got to those matchups. In senior girls, the Laifiki Dragons advanced after a 2-1 win over the CR Walker Knights. The defending champions got goals from Issa Bornas and Storm Diarville in the win. In the other half of the draw, the Queen's College Comets advanced on penalties with a 4-2 edge over Grand Bahama's Bishop Michael Eldon. In senior boys play, a huge day for the Dragons program continued when they pulled off the upset over the reigning BAISS and national champions. LCIS won 4-1 over Windsor School. The Dragons got 2 goals from Joshua O'Brien, 1 from Jack Massey, and another from Cameron Bethel. As for who the Dragons will face, Frednell Felix and John Brzee led Government High School to the final with a 3-2 win over the St. George's Jaguars out of Grand Bahama.
The regional prelims continue for the NCAA Outdoor Championships, and more Bahamians are looking to book their spot in Eugene, Oregon. Anthea Charlton continues to rewrite the record books for the Florida Gators, and a breakout season continues at the East Prelims. Her time also reached the qualification standard for the World Championships in Tokyo. In the long jump, Charlton finished third with a mark of 6.52 meters. Giovanna Valcourt of the Tennessee Volunteers won her 400-meter heat in 52.22 seconds. She advanced to Saturday's quarterfinals and would need a top 12 finish to advance.
Jazz Chisholm was back on the field and back in pinstripes, but not New York Yankee pinstripes, Somerset Patriot pinstripes. Working his way back from an oblique injury, Chisholm was designated for a rehab assignment with the Patriots of the AA Eastern League. In 5 innings, he finished 2 for 3 with a double and scored 2 runs in the Patriots' 12-0 win over the Akron Rubber Ducks at TD Bank Ballpark in New Jersey. Defensively, Chisholm played third base, a position he spent 45 games at last season when he was traded to New York.
He told me that he wanted me at third base. He really wanted me at third base. So, like I said, I'm a team guy. I'm here to win a ring. I'm not here to fight over positions and all that. You know, we got some of the best players in the world on our team. We definitely got the best player in the world on our team. So I'm definitely not the one to be out here fighting for positions, you know. So for me, I'm just here trying to help us win and try to help us win a World Series.
It's the final Friday in May, which means 2 things. We're headed to summer, and you're headed for top plays. At 5, Keyshawn Strachan at the NCAA West Prelims advanced to the Outdoor Champs for the 2nd time. 5th last year, coming for the podium in 2025.
At number 4, down to AA Baseball, BJ Murray homers for the 8th time this season.
Coming in at number 3, JJ and the Liberty look unbeaten this season so far in the WNBA. See, this is the story we should be talking about.
At number 2, Jazz is back. Is that a torpedo back? Is this still a thing? Just missed a home run.
And at number 1, the Charlton family is running Bahamian track and field like the Targaryens were running Westeros. Anthea Charlton's breakout season continues. You already know how great she is at the long jump. Well, now she's headed to the World Champs in Tokyo in the 100 meters, 11.05 seconds at the NCAA prelims. That'll do it for Our Sports. This is 10YS. All right, it's almost draft time, almost time for us to head to New York. How big of a team are we taking?
Let me check. 2.
It's not enough. Back to the studio.
Still ahead on our news tonight, the countdown is on to World Ocean Day. Hear how one school is inspiring change through ocean education. And your extended weather forecast returns when our news continues. Stay with us.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
When Team Bahamas took on the region at the 2025 Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, we were there. When the country's stars of tomorrow announced their arrival to the world. When champions rose, records fell, and history was made, we were there. Cable Bahamas, RTV, experience more.
Joshua Williams here. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button and to follow all of our social media pages. Also, don't forget to push that notification button so that you can see all of the great content from the team you already trust.
My name is Troy Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent on the services, so I was very grateful that the Live
This is our news. Welcome back. Official start of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season begins in 2 days. It actually begins on Sunday, 1st of June, and it runs through November 30th. All the forecasts are pointing towards an above average season. We had one last year, and we're expecting much the same. The tropics remaining rather warm, at least the Atlantic waters, and of course, not much in terms of any wind shear out there. But the tropics, quiet as we speak. A couple of tropical waves moving across the tropical belt. One strong wave coming off of Africa as we speak, another one in the central Atlantic. The Western Caribbean, the Gulf, quiet, and that's how we like it. But of course, things may be shaping up in the next couple of days. Across the area, we have an upper level trough and a front that's dropping across North Florida. That's introducing some moisture across the area. So we're looking for some showers and possibly some isolated thunderstorms in the forecast for the weekend. Show that nicely in our future forecast. As I mentioned, moisture across the northwest Bahamas will stay there. That frontal boundary dropping across the area, picking up some moisture across the northwest Bahamas through Saturday afternoon. And as I said, it should stall, so we're looking for moisture to stay with us. So showers in the forecast throughout the weekend and possibly even into next week. Boating forecast for the northwest Bahamas tonight to tomorrow. Small craft use some caution. Rip current risk slightly high. South to southwest winds at 15 knots. Seas running 3 to 5 feet. Your high tide is at 11:39 tonight. Low tide at 6:13 in the morning. Central and southeast Bahamas, much improved conditions down there. Southeast to south winds at 10 to 15 knots. They will fall light and variable. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, Saturday looks pretty nice across our area. Of course, the extreme northern islands will be seeing those showers and thunderstorms, but that front will stall and drop across most of the northwest Bahamas. So Sunday and Monday we're introducing some showers, and that is likely to continue through the middle of next week. But those temperatures will stay rather nice during that time frame. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night. Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right, thanks so much, Greg. Well, this weekend, the Down Home West End Fish Fry Festival is coming to Montague Beach, and organizers promise it will be an experience you won't want to miss. The festival brings a taste of Grand Bahamas to the capital this Saturday and Sunday. The two-day experience will bring some of the biggest names in the Bahamian entertainment to one stage, along with culinary delights. Organizer Richard Johnson telling us there will be up to 15 vendors providing attendees with a variety of dishes. He says vendors heard the feedback from last year and perfected all the kinks.
Last year, we would pretty much call it a test run. We would have had some issues that turned out to major issues relating to ticketing and food, etc. So this year, we have made a lot of changes to accommodate the customers as they come out here. Like I say again, we have over 15 vendors. We have about 6 of those on the West End Grand Bahama. We have 1 from Mangrove Key, and the rest comes from Nassau.
Johnson says he's expecting a major crowd this weekend with a large number from the Family Island. He says the response has been great so far.
We've been getting ooh and wow. We've been getting, oh my God, it's Tanya coming out of West End, Shine coming out of Mangrove Key. And so people generally have been excited about it.
Well, 2 young ocean advocates doing their part to educate students at the Uriah McPhee School about the importance of World Ocean Day, which will be celebrated on June 8th. Carissa Taylor and Andrea Conliffe partnering with the New Providence Ecology Park, teaching the students not only the importance of recycling, but the dangers of non-biological materials can have on our environment and the ocean. They tell us it's their passion and they want to spread their knowledge.
One of the greatest ways we can bring awareness to our ocean is to educate others, especially those of a younger audience, so that when they grow up, they can have a greater impact, so that they can tell their kids, so that they can tell their grandkids why it's important to protect our ocean, and so that we can act now to protect, preserve, and just bring awareness to the ocean that we love.
And for Vice Principal at the school, Joyce Brown, it's important to keep on creating opportunities for her students to learn outside of the classroom.
The students are very interesting in the topics of conservation and recycling because it's also a part of our curriculum. So it's nice to see that these young persons came today to reinforce what is being taught in the school.
All right, great stuff. If you want to see that story again, it's available now at ournews.bs. And with that, we thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening. Hi, and thank you for watching. I'm Natalia Hall. Be sure and hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications to see more content from the team you already trust.